Welcome back, everybody, to the Wild Rift European Championships. I've swapped out my analyst and brought in Stuart, and Hells will be hanging around. He'll be doing some interviews, hopefully, and also some plays of the game, and moments of the game. But Stuart, I've got you for our second series. How are you feeling? How do you think about that? What do you think about that first series? What are you thinking about our second one?
I mean, our first series was a complete stomp. Hopefully this series is going to be a bit closer, even though we've all kind of predicted that 2-0 again for NAVI. But yeah, the first game, GG, absolutely insane play by them as well. So it's going to be interesting going into the next one.
Yeah, we're going to move over to Hells. Yep. Oh, sorry. I apologize. We will be going to Hells. We're going to go to Hells with key points of the game, guys. Apologies. We'll get him back on screen. I love hearing from Hells. I want to hear more. Hells, tell us about the key points from this game.
There we go, I'm back on the camera. So I was talking about Vex, and I like to say that Vex is quite a similar player as Random. He is basically the player to look out for. And if you give Vex Lee Sin, it's like giving Random Camille or Darius or whatever, right? He's gonna absolutely hard carry the game and do some crazy jungle rotations. And see, the problem is, he is good at Lee Sin, but it's incredibly hard to ban out against Navi because they are good at everything. They're really good at everything, and they're good at so many different unique champions. So as an opponent of Navi, you're gonna be struggling a lot because you just don't know what to ban out against them. And then if we talk about EIQ, he has some crazy pocket picks, and these pocket picks are something like the Vayne mid or the Irelia mid, and this is just stuff that you just, how do you counter it? And that's the beauty of Navi. They're the team that you just cannot counter, and they have a jungler that is super dangerous, and it's going to be interesting to see how people and how people and Tropic are going to be playing up against it. So that's it for the key points. Tossing it back to the casters, Excounder and Stuart.
Thank you. You know what, guys? Those were worth the wait. Those key points were absolutely worth the wait because I agree with him. I think, Yakui has got some really strong champions. He's a very, very talented mid laner. Navi, I think I'm a big Vex fan. Speaking of the rosters, let's take a look at those rosters for our two teams. And Stu, I think a lot of you will know about that Navi roster, but do you know what can we expect from Entropic? Because a lot of people might not know too much about these guys.
Yeah, not a lot of people know about Entropic, but their roster overall, they still got to the top 16. They've still got through from the lower brackets of the open qualifiers, and we've been seeing them really dominate the scene, especially over in the Czech Republic as well. This is an all Czech team for Entropic. But yeah, on the side of Navi as well, we know these players: Fee, Vex, Yakui, Hydro, Show. We've seen them before. There are a few new members for Navi that maybe people might have not seen from last year. Fee now up in the top lane. Then you got Shao as support as well, who used to play for Game Lord. So a few new members, but still the same Navi that we know and love. And it could be hopefully a closer game than the first series, but I think it will be another promising victory for Navi.
Yeah, I think Navi are likely to be the victors in this series. They've got such incredible talent. There's got a lot of competitive experience in the Wild Rift esports scene as well. Do you know what, Stu? What'll be really good right now is just take a breather and see where we are in that bracket again. Let's take a moment to just check where we are in the tournament standings of the Wild Rift European Championship, and you can see WREC have found their way into that second round of the upper bracket, where they will face the winner of this series as well. But to take a look at those series that we've got next week and then sort of coming up, we've got Zero Zone versus Viv and Game Lord versus Team Queso, Stu. That is something that I'm really looking forward to. And of course, our lower bracket games as well, Aphelion versus The Supremacy and Weigers versus Principality. Teams are not out of it if they lose this first series. They have another chance in that lower bracket to make it through to the grand final eventually.
Yeah, the lower bracket is looking really, really close right now. All these teams are so close together. And like you said, they still got one more chance. But I think, as you mentioned, the upper bracket as well, you got Game Lord against Team Queso. And we could potentially be seeing WREC versus Navi as well. If Navi win this next series, we could potentially be seeing them in the next round as well. So we could be seeing four of the top teams play against each other in that second round of the bracket, which means that two of them have to go down to the lower bracket. So it's going to be really interesting to see what team is going to come out on top. But first, Navi needs to go through Entropic.
They do. And, as you said, Entropic, a great team, Czech representatives, and I think a team that deserves to be here, because every team that has fought their way through to this stage of the tournament deserves to be here. But of course, Navi have got some powerhouse players on their roster with the likes of Vex and Yukui. You expect these guys to be in a strong spot in terms of those top four, top three standings. And I think Navi are very likely to be one of our top 4 teams as well. So again, it's one of those situations where we expect Navi to win. Things can obviously go wrong at this stage of the tournament. But overall, I would say that Entropic have got their work cut out for them if they want to kind of make a dent in the Navi armor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Entropic needs to come up with something, I think, crazy. You know, I want to see some pocket picks. I want to see some cool picks. We're already seeing some interesting picks in the first draft as well. We saw Gragas mid, we saw Lucian mid, we saw, you know, champions still being banned like Set and Jace as well, which most likely we'll be seeing in the second series as well. But teams haven't really had a lot of time to kind of really adapt to this new patch yet. So really the big point is like what teams are going to be coming out on top and what teams have adapted faster to this new patch and maybe found a few picks that maybe they can bring out for this series.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for me because people are still banning Set, people are still banning Jace sometimes as well. Jace was picked first pick. So it feels like these pros either don't think the nerfs made that much of a difference, or they think that these things are still strong and haven't quite adapted and would rather go what they know rather than having to take a risk on a new meta that may be evolving from a patch. Speaking of the picks and bans, we are into them now. Navi on blue side, Entropic over on the red. And again, we've always seen some very heavy bans towards the things like the Set, the Fioras, these AD bruisers that kind of dominate in that top side of the map.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really like the blue side as well. You know, on the blue side, most of the time, you see these interesting bans like the Corki that we've been seeing now. We saw a lot of bans towards Rakan before. We've seen Lee Sin on the blue side. I think that's a great thing about being on blue side is you can kind of target ban a little bit more because normally on the red side, you see champions ban like Set and like Jace. But interesting enough, the first ban is actually Varus for Entropic. So interesting enough, not taking that away. Garen, I don't think anyone wants to deal with Garen, especially after seeing random play him in the previous series. But we're going to be seeing if Set and Jace is going to be enough. There's a Set ban as well. I'm sorry, the Jace ban. We're going to be seeing if Set is also going to be banned as well. But yeah, I really like that the blue side, you can kind of target ban a little bit more instead of banning out these kind of OP picks at the moment.
Jack's getting banned. That's something that I never thought I'd be saying in Wild Rift, but obviously he's kind of crept into the jungle as a pretty strong option in the jungle right now. And the Set does come through as the final ban. What is this left open? Something like the Fiora for Fee. I mean, that's open right now. Obviously a really, really strong Baron laner and can be flexed to the jungle for Vex. And it is going to be the Fiora first pick, as we expected, Stu. It is hyper strong. If you go and look at Stu's tier list, he would have also put Fiora firmly as the queen of the Baron lane.
Yeah, with the nerfs to Jace and Set and everyone, I think Fiora is by far the strongest in the Baron lane now. Surprising enough that Entropic decided to ban Varus instead of the Fiora, but now you see Entropic now picking up the Thresh, picking up that roaming support that can do so well and roam around the map. We saw it a lot in the previous series as well. We saw Clue roaming around the map and being that kind of pinpoint of his team, and Lee Sin as well. But now look, you give over Camille and Fiora to Na'Vi. That's something that you don't want to see. And Darius as well. This is triple flex. I'm pretty sure all three of these champions could go mid, Baron lane, or jungle. Yeah,
I mean, Darius jungle is kind of, I don't know, like a bit, you know, not 100%.
It's possible.
It's possible. This to me feels like, I don't know if you've been keeping up with like the sort of the Chinese meta and the Korean meta and things, but they are sometimes like running Darius in mid into certain matchups. It does keep your draft very flexible heading into this ban phase. And I actually like what Entropic are doing. They're saying, well, you're all AD right now, right? If we take away some of the better AP options in the bot lane, then you're going to struggle to have a real AP presence in the game. So I like what they're doing in terms of these second ban strategy. I expect maybe a Ziggs to get banned here with the Morgana taken away.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Entropic for that last pick of the first phase, they picked a Morgana that's taken away an AP champion. They ban away Orianna and Ziggs, and that kind of leaves really Brand, maybe Veigar as well, because Hydra has to play an AP champion in the duo lane now, you feel like, unless they got something else up their sleeves as well. They've already banned the Corki away themselves in the first banning phase. So we're going to be seeing Entropic first, seeing what they're going to be picking. Morgana could be mid.
Brand.
Yeah, they could do. Honestly, they could do like Morgana mid. Oh, there's a Diana as well, actually, interesting enough. So yeah, Diana in the mid lane, Morgana down in the duo lane for Entropic, but now it's down to Na'Vi. Oh, interesting enough. A Senna. Now, Gragas is already banned. Galio is the one that's open. Okay, there we go. As I say, that's the one that gets picked. But I think the problem that Navi has at the moment is that Galio doesn't really build a lot of AP damage in the duo lane. You normally go like tank Galio in the duo lane, and that leaves a lot of AD damage over to the side of Navi here.
Well, it's fasting center, right? So
of course, yeah.
So you should be able to pick up. I think you might actually be able to go AP Galio because you're going to get the gold income, right? So you're going to get the gold income to support you going AP Galio. So I think that could be where we see. But Galio is your only AP threat. That's a little risky. Yeah. However, what I would say is that there's always a lot of talk about being damage profiles, right, Stu? We talk about damage profiles and team comps. There isn't really anyone on Entropic that's going to just spam armor and be unkillable. None of these champions are going to obviously Ninja Tabai is getting insane value here, or sorry, plated steel caps are getting insane value here, but no one's just going to build full armor and just laugh. You know, it's not like you've got a Garen or a Malphite or a Gragas who's just going to build full armor and laugh at you. These are still squishy targets, and even if you're full AD, you probably can still take them down relatively quickly.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They picked Irelia as a last option. They'll probably go into the Baron lane. Maybe we might have been better to see the likes of maybe a Malphite, but we don't really see Malphite that often at the moment in competitive play. But yeah, as you said, it is going to be fasting Senna down in the duo lane. If you don't know how fasting Senna works, it's basically Senna doesn't really get any farm at all. She's still played as like a duo lane carry, but it's basically going to be the Galio that will be taking the farm. That means Senna gets to collect as many souls as possible, and she can scale into the mid and the late game as well, and just pretty much attack from infinite range. But definitely an interesting two teams as well as we get into hopefully game one very, very shortly.
I actually quite liked Entropic's comp until they put the Irelia in there. I thought actually you've got Morgana with Stasis, who's going to be a real nuisance for your very heavy melee threats. You've got Diana, who's good anti-melee champ in her own right as well. And then I was thinking just like, get another big kind of like AoE CC block person in there, or like you said, the Malphite or something like that. And then they just lock in Irelia. I'm like, well, she's going to get eaten alive by Fiora. She's going to get eaten alive by Darius. That's not the best. Wouldn't have been my first choice of picks here, Stu, as we are on to the Rift, and it's Yakui playing Camille mid, because of course Yakui's playing Camille mid.
Yeah, Yakui playing Camille mid, which means that Fiora is going to go into the jungle and Darius is up in the Baron lane. So kind of what we expected, to be fair. I think that's kind of the standard of what we expected. And we see Hydro and Showdown in the duo lane, as we kind of expect as well, playing that fasting Senna. You'll see Senna as she's doing here. She's just going to try and get as many stacks as possible, and she's going to leave the farm over to Galio. So Galio's gone for Aftershock, which most of the time means that maybe he might go for a more tankier build, but as you mentioned already, there's not really anyone or any real tanks on the side of Entropic that can really do that much. But wow, Fee already going really, really low in this Baron lane.
Stu, look, I'm going to come at you from a Galio connoisseur. I always take Aftershock and Galio, regardless of what build I'm playing, because it's just too good with him. It's just too good with him. As you mentioned, though, Fee is going kind of taking a rough trade, already forced to use his honey fruit at this stage in the game. It was a very aggressive play by Sekuta to kind of get up there and put some pressure onto Fee, who's on the Darius.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see the roams already happening. It's 4 people up in the Baron lane, which means Morgana down by herself. But I think that's a great thing about these AP duo lane champions, is that they can wave clear so quickly. The likes of Ziggs, the likes of Morgana. We saw Doom do it last game as well. And we might be seeing a fight, a Skull Crab as well here.
Here we are. We're going to see a binding come through. Yakui taking very low as the Flay comes in. Has got the ignite and the hook's there. Has to be forced to flush away. Nice taunt coming out from Galio on Skau. It's going to be a Vex over the wall for the first blood. We'll find it eventually. Uses that riposte to buy some time. Actually manages to dive out, but will go down to the Diana eventually. Very messy play around the Rift Scuttle there. But it will be Navi that comes out slightly on top.
Yeah, the Entropic took the top lane Scuttle, and they were like, okay, we're just going to go down to the bot lane Scuttle as well and take a team fight. Vex did get the Scuttle Crab in the end, and the taunt here by Show was really good. Watch Show here, dashes in, gets a 2-man taunt, sorry, because the Black Shield stopped them fresh. But yeah, Vex flashed over the wall, was able to get first blood, but unfortunately for him, he died himself as well. And in the end, an even trade 1-for-1, which is, okay for both sides. I think Navi really wanted that Scuttle Crab, because if you give 2 Scuttle Crabs over to the side of Lee Sin, that's a lot of gold. That's a lot of experience that Nedro can get on the Lee Sin. But in the end, not too bad of a trade. Is even in gold at the moment. Nothing too crazy happening as We've seen, yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, with the Irelia as well, I'm going to find it. I think Irelia's going to find it really, really hard to try and dive in onto Navi, which what Irelia, loves to do. She likes to try and land the stun, try and dive in. As we see this as well, Fee.
I mean, that's a lot of damage. Gets saved by the shield from the Thresh here. Fee does not run the ignite though, so he's going with as the kickers comes through. There is the Sonic Wave. They are getting the support from the sidelines with the Senna. And it will be Vex that picks up the kill. Now Yakui jumps in with the Hextech Ultimatum. Just got nerfed in the last patch. Here comes the taunt coming out from Scout. And it will be Yakui who goes down to Patras. Just about manages to escape, but Sho picks up the kill right at the end. 1-for-1 overall in the mid.
Yeah, a lot of roams happening across the map at the moment. In the Baron lane, Fee nearly solo killed Daryl. As you said, the Thresh saved him with the shield. And Nedro thought, we could try and maybe catch out Fee, but in the end, you had Vex up there as well. And Vex was able to turn this fight around. You can see Irelia can't really do that much because she was so low on health. And then you saw in the mid lane as well, Sho being able to roam in the mid lane as well against the Diana. And even though it was a 1-for-1 trade anyway in the mid lane, you can see that the rotation's already on the side of Navi. They're trying to rotate him out around the map, which we've seen a lot more, I feel like, in Wild Rift. I feel like at the start, and especially last year, there wasn't really that much in terms of roams, but we're seeing a lot of roams now by, all members of every single team, really, which makes the game really, really interesting. It shows how important the early game is in Wild Rift.
Yeah, and it's so fast-paced as well. Just roams that are coming out, it shows you the pace of the game. And so Vex, with the support of the rest of his team trying to go for this Rift Herald, they don't want to make it easy for Nedro to get the kill, and they're going to go in. That's the huge damage coming out from Fee on the Darius again as the stuns come through from Haru. That'll be the first kill going over onto Skau. Actually, this Irelia starting to pop up, has the healing going for them, and actually escapes. I can't believe they just let an Irelia get away with that.
I mean, I said before that Irelia can't really jump around against his comp, but I guess Navi just let them jump around, and now they're going to be able to take the Dragon from this as well. I'm not too sure who picked up the Rift Herald in the end. I believe it was Vex that picked up the Rift Herald in the end, so they do trade objectives. But yeah, you lose Infernal, you lose the fight as well, and you can see here, if you keep an eye on Irelia here, using the ultimate to get in to get the stacks for the first ability, you can see he's just jumping around, and he just can't really do that much. He's getting the resets on his first ability, so he can keep jumping around. He can keep dodging abilities, and that's a huge start for Entropic. A gold lead, a kill lead. They do lose the Rift Herald, but they get the Infernal Drake, as you said.
I think the really big part of that fight, though, was the fact that Haru on the Morgana, it shows you how powerful Morgana is versus heavy melee comps, a bit like the Darius. 2 people stunned by the Morgana, which allowed the setup from the Irelia to come in. And that was just Haru doing work in that team fight there, Stu.
Yeah, for sure. He doesn't have the status just yet, so it was a little bit scary to see the ultimate come through and show how close he is. But yeah, as you said, when you have multiple melee members on the side of Navi, it's really hard to kind of stop the Morgana, or kind of escape really from the ultimate. And she did stun 2 people in the end of the 4-man ultimate from Irelia as well. And that's not a bad start for Entropic, to be fair. They're even on gold as well. They have the scaling as well of the Morgana. They have the Diana and even the Irelia as well, which I still feel like as the later the game goes, it will be hard for Irelia. But if she can, keep a little bit further ahead, and if she can keep at least even in gold, she will be complete fight. See Vex at the moment in the top side of the map again. Both junglers really prioritizing this top side map and showing how important this is. But Vex is going in.
We've got 4 members from Entropic. They took the bait. Skau is here to try and buy some time. He will pick up a kill and flashes out. Should be a shutdown going over to Skau. But that was a huge bait from Entropic.
The rotations again, Entropic seem to be on the same page, if not ahead of Navi at the moment. But the Galio as well just shows how much of a power pick Galio can be at the moment with that grand entrance, Grand Skyfall. I can't remember what the ultimate name is actually. But yeah, being able to come in from the mid lane up into the top lane, which didn't make the trade seem too bad. But Entropic, I'm really liking the way they're playing this game at the moment. They've kind of taken it to Navi.
Absolutely. I mean, not just taking it, they are, by all accounts and purposes, ahead. They're even on gold, but ahead in kills. They've got the Infernal Drake. This is huge. Take a look back at that fight.
Yeah, 100%. You can see the Lantern was being used as well. Everything was just being dumped on this Baron lane. And in the end, Sho was able to take 1 back, but 2 members dying over to the side of Navi. You see that Vex still has the Rift Herald. He will use it now in the Jura lane. You can see that members of Entropic again. Look at the rotations again. Lee Sin's coming down. Thresh is starting to come down as well. Diana's coming down. You see Morgana move into the mid lane as well. These AP mages that normally play in the Jura lane, they most of the time rotate into the mid lane to just try and get that mid lane priority, so then they can rotate around the map as well, which I feel like Entropic has a bit of a lead when it comes to mid lane priority, because you don't have a lot of wave clear on the side of Na'Vi. You have these, this top side with the AD bruises and everything, but you only really have like Show and Hydro as this wave clear sort of tool, but that's nothing compared to a Morgana.
No. Absolutely agree. And they're trying to put pressure in through the side lanes right now too, but honestly, both their side laners are behind the Diana and the Irelia. I mean, Sekutka he's at like 7,000 gold. He's got an entire grand over Fee right now, and Fee's just struggling to kind of keep up with this Irelia. Got to also look at the fact that we will see Shao building a AP Galio, so it is full AP Galio. Gone for what we call like a bit of a tankier Galio build. He's gone for the Crystalline Reflector. I really feel like Galio is one of the few champions in the game that actually uses Crystalline Reflector. And I think that's pretty solid into this matchup as well, because you've got like an Irelia and a Lee Sin who might try and burst you down.
Yeah, I think another champion as well is actually the Diana as well, which actually works quite well. You see the Diana herself, because she likes to dive in. When you play these AP champions that like to dive in, like to kind of get in and amongst the enemies, in amongst the Na'Vi, they're going to want to build Crystalline Reflector to kind of negate most of the AD damage. And with Camille, Senna, Fiora, Darius, it's kind of a no-brainer for Diana as well. Both teams at the moment kind of posturing around the Dragon for now. Nothing too crazy going to be happening just yet, but it looks like Entropic have complete control of this river right now.
Absolutely, but they are losing bot lane prior. You can see that Yakui went down towards that bot lane. Wave is going to shove it in, which is going to make that setup a little harder for Entropic to keep. And it is now the mid lane that's being kind of pushed back here by Na'Vi. Obviously, there is a very easy tower take on the top side of the map, which could see a Rift Herald drop. But obviously, if they went to commit to top side, it would be an easy Drake take for Entropic. So no one really pushing the button to go for the top side play yet.
Yeah, I think Cloud Dragon, most players or most pro players feel like Cloud Dragon is one of the strongest with Infernal as well. But enough of that, down the bot lane.
Yeah, Yakui just unfortunately doesn't quite make that work with the hook shot. He will go down eventually. You can see now Shao, unfortunately, with a great taunt, needs someone to follow up here. You can see that Fee was waiting for a potential move with that Decimate, maybe a flash to work with, but didn't commit to the play. It will just be that top lane tower that gets taken down. Vex, I think Vex has to try and go for another tower take here to really make this Rift Herald get some value.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the two dragons now going over to side Entropic, especially being the Infernal and the Cloud Dragon as well. But that bot lane fight, again, Entropic are the first people there. Entropic players are just rotating so much quicker than Na'Vi and catching Na'Vi off guard, which Na'Vi are probably thinking at the moment, it's like, wow, we weren't expecting this. And I think a lot of, we definitely weren't expecting it either, to be fair, coming into this. We thought that, Na'Vi, one of the strongest teams in the entire tournament, but Entropic is saying to us, like, look, we're a team that could bring it to Na'Vi as well. We can come up with these rotations. We can pick off players from Na'Vi. 8 kills to 4 at the moment. And again, more rotations in the top lane.
Yeah, and Yakui targeted once more. This is just beautiful stuff from Entropic. Now, it's up to Na'Vi to try and respond to this. And it is that mid lane that's going to get focused down. You can see there isn't anyone there to defend it. And I think Na'Vi will be relatively happy with trading mid lane tower for a life.
Yeah, mid lane for top lane tower. They do lose a member, and they might not even try and engage here.
Yeah, might do as well. The exhaust comes out. Haru looking for the engage. Nedro can't quite find the Sonic Wave. Oh, the flash hook! It's enough, but his fight doesn't start out the way they want it to. As an immediate riposte from Vex stops him getting locked down. You can see now, there's the ultimate from Morgana. That gets taken away. This is a good start for Na'Vi if they want to look for a fight, but they are going to back off at the end. Still a net win for Na'Vi as they just keep themselves ahead in gold ever so slightly.
Yeah, this is a really, really close game right now. You can see even with the mid lane fight as well, great flash hook for the side of Pogo on the Fresh, but couldn't really follow that up because of the riposte of Fiora. And then you had Irelia's ulti missing, the Sonic Wave missed as well. So both these teams are feeling the pressure now. As you said, it's only like a 2,000 plus goal lead now for Na'Vi, but you have the scaling of Entropic with these dragons as well, the extra movement speed from Cloud Dragon, the extra damage from the Infernal Drake as well. Irelia is looking really, really strong now. 3 items already for this Irelia, Blade of Rune King, Trinity Force, and the Death Stance as well. And look at the rotations again.
Oh my God, they're just on top of Vex. He goes down, and now you can see Yakui struggling as Shao comes into the fight. Can't quite find the kill onto Sakuka, who's buying time, finds the stun, and Shao will go down eventually here too. It is a huge win for Entropic. What on earth is going on for Na'Vi here? And Hydro can't even pick up the kill. Can't even find the kill with the ultimate. Darius has to be careful versus Patras. Can't actually find the engage. And my goodness, Entropic, they are looking like the team that is likely to come out on the top here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like just Navi are just not really on the same page, and they're just a step behind of Entropic, because every time we see a fight happen in these side lanes, it's always Entropic that are there first, and now they're just going to go to the mid lane, and Hydro's by himself.
Hydro is by himself. He's trying to buy some time. The stun will not land. They managed to get the immunity coming through. The hook lands there as well, but have they overstepped as the rest of Navi is coming in? It is a fight under the tower. This is something that Navi might want with the stasis with the ultimate from Morgana. Look how much damage it's going to get done. Fee though! Fee with the double kill. Somehow Darius finds his way back in with a single fight, an overstep from Entropic. And that has bought a load of gold that they sorely needed.
Oh, they really wanted to get their mid lane tower. They're still trying to get the mid lane tower as well. Low health members on the side of Navi, and yeah, they have to give it up. But now they're trying to fight. I'm not too sure if this is a fight you really want to take.
Yeah, I've got a lot of damage coming out from Sekutka though. And wow. Patras and Nedro will back off. That is the man that you have to look at. The solo laners, the real powerhouses here for Entropic, and have been all game. Haru and Pogo, they're just kind of distraction techniques in these team fights, really.
Yeah, you see the fight here. They really wanted this mid lane tower. They already lost the mid lane tower already on Tropic, so we were like, yeah, we need to get the mid lane tower as well. Great hook as well, and I think you mentioned during the team fight as well. The ultimate here from Haru, as you can see, Morgana ultimate into stasis, but Fee getting the recess with his ultimate. He gets double dunks and was trying to get more as well. But as you said, it's just an overstep from Entropic. They really wanted their mid lane tower. They did get it eventually afterwards, but look at the gold lead now. It's basically nothing. Like 200 gold in Wild Rift, it is nothing. It's honestly nothing.
But the most important thing, Stu, is in favor of Entropic. Yeah. They turned around a gold lead for Navi, and they now have it in favor of them. Now there's the hook coming through from Pogo, but he won't find anything. They've snuck a dragon here. EIQ will bounce over the wall. Pogo flashes in. There's the flame, looking for the engage. The kick coming through. That will be the Hextech ultimatum. The hero's entrance to buy some space, and that's an immediate kill for Fee. Now they're looking for more as the Morgana ultimate comes through. They're right in the middle of the fight. EIQ trying, as is Fee. They're trying to find something as the rest of Entropic are bouncing forward. Patras forced to flash away. Vex going in, finds the stun, finds the double kill, looking for the final one onto Pogo as he gets the slows down. Vex have absolutely pulled something out of nothing here and suddenly turned the game on its head.
I felt like it's another overstep from Entropic again. They tried to get the play. They saw a few members off guard and kind of away from the rest of his team, but they didn't have vision. They didn't have vision on that side of the Navi's jungle. And in the end, it was Navi. You can see here, Fee and Hydro in the back able to just delete pretty much delete Lee Sin off the face of the map, and then it's a 5 versus 4 situation. And when you get into this situation as Navi, you know eventually you'll be able to win the fight. And you see like Patras was trying to jump in, so many members were trying to jump in, but Vex here, look at that parry, being able to parry the dark binding of Morgana, getting that root, getting the double kill, and eventually killing off Pogo as well. But that was all about the vision control really from Entropic. They thought they had the pick, they thought they had, they caught Navi off guard, and eventually it was the Lee Sin that went down and pretty much got deleted because Fee and Hydro were standing to one side.
Does EIQ Hextech ultimatum the Lee Sin kick? I feel like he did, because the Lee Sin kick went on cooldown, but I don't actually know who he kicked. It didn't look like he kicked anyone, but Fee targeted, will get the Sonic Wave on top of him. He's going to get dropped down very low, may have to just give up his life here as Entropic bounce into action in the mid lane. They are not down and out just yet.
This game is definitely one of the closest games I think we've seen of the whole of the WREC so far over the past 2 weekends. And you can see that Entropic, as you said, they're not down and out yet. They have lost the Baron, but they do pick off Fee, which means that Navi can't really do that much now. They were trying to go for this 1-3-1 situation with Vex in the Dura lane, Yekui in the Baron lane as well, but they can't really do this anymore. In a 4 versus 5 situation, they have to be really, really careful, because if they do lose another member as well, it will be really difficult. But you can see they're still playing really, really aggressive in this mid lane, but they have to be careful. Here comes really are not going to be able to engage just yet, but Navi is still playing with fire. Even in a 4 versus 5 situation, they're still trying to get an advantage and get something at least from this Baron.
I think the real thing you need to watch out for is Sekutka, because he's the guy that's got all the gold. He's the guy that's completely fed. He's at 15k. The only person that matches that is Vex, who, by the way, is at 16k as a jungler. I'm going to be honest with you. Vex is at that ridiculous stage of Fiora where it's just impossible. That's a great parry.
Parry
onto the back line. They're going to have to hear his entrance as well. They desperately held on to that tier 2, but Vex made them pay. It's the double kill for Vex and the Fiora as the pull comes through. Won't quite land. Won't go further than that. And that should be an inhibitor tower now. Vex and the rest of Na'Vi suddenly woke up. It took them about 15 minutes to wake up in this game, but they are now firmly in the driving seat.
Vex proving that he is definitely one of the best junglers in this tournament. You could put him on someone like a Fiora, which, you know, you don't normally traditionally see in the jungle if you're coming from PC League as well. But that's a great thing about Wild Rift. You can play these kind of pocket picks in the jungle as well. And this parry here, look, you're able to parry the Moonfall from Dino. Then he could just flash in. He could proc all his vitals as well with the ultimate. And he could just completely decimate Entropic. They weren't able to find any more kills. They weren't able to finish off the game with that push or with that team fight. But in the end, they were able to get that bot lane inhibitor tower. And with the Elder Dragon now spawning, yeah, I think all eyes definitely have to be on Vex now. Where is he going to be? Is he going to try and focus on this dragon? Is he going to try and get onto the back line as well? Because, you know, 18,000 gold now. He's full build now. He's the only member on anyone's team. And now it's going to be all eyes on the dragon.
I mean, they don't want a 50-50 the Elder, right? There's too many. I mean, I think Entropic have picked up too many dragons to 50-50 this. But you can see that they're actually being very careful as the engage comes through to the backline. That's immediately onto the stasis. There comes the ultimate from the center, but Vex is on the backline as well. So much damage coming out. I think at this point it is impossible for Entropic to keep themselves in the game. The Darius finally making work of that front line, and Vex just pumping out too much damage. A double kill for Hydro, who's been basically invisible as the support all game, and Na'Vi should be able to push down for this Nexus. It was a hard fight. It was a struggle, but Na'Vi pick up the first game in this series.
That was one hell of a first game. If the series just carries on like that, give me more. Give me best of 5, best of 7s between these two teams. I would love to see it be. And Na'Vi in the end just coming out on top, and all highlights were on Vex in the end. Multiple parries during the team fights. The one around the red side, around the Na'Vi's jungle point as well. And even in this early game as well, being able to rotate around the map. And in the end, Vex on this Fiora. Do not give this man Fiora. It's unbelievable what you can do, and it just shows how powerful Fiora is in the current meta.
Yeah, I just want to give credit though to Entropic. They played so much better than I think people expected them to do. Sakuka on this Aurelia was an absolute beast. I didn't really think the Aurelia pick was strong, but you can clearly see that in the hands of the right player, Aurelia can be very, very good. And I'll be honest, Entropic, their rotations, they played around the Thresh so heavily. I think that worked so well for them. They lacked that killer instinct. They lacked the Rix factor, I like to call it. Like the ability to just, when you get a small advantage, you just absolutely bleed your opponent dry. And I feel like they just were lacking that. And by the time they tried to make those plays, I feel like Stu, they'd given up too much at that point. And I think people like Vex were too far in their item builds and too far into the game.
Yeah, you can see in these late game fights as well. You can see what we mentioned really during the draft, that Aurelia does struggle. Even though the Aurelia was ahead, she just really struggles to be able to get onto the back line. And you can see Hydra, we didn't really talk too much about him during the game, but he was just always in the back line, providing the heals, providing the shields as well. And yeah, as you mentioned, Vex just dominating the back line of Entropic. And in the end, as you said, Entropic, really good showing from them. I'm really happy to see that Entropic were able to pretty much take it to Na'Vi. You saw the early game rotations, and I would say in the early game, Entropic had a bit of an advantage over Na'Vi with the rotations that they were doing as well.
I genuinely at one point think Entropic were favored to win that game. I thought this is they're snowballing, they're playing the team fights really well, they're catching Na'Vi off guard. But what Na'Vi did do well to kind of soak the pressure was that a lot of side lane stuff. They took side lane towers, they made sure they were absorbing side lane waves. So whilst you had Entropic that were fully grouped around mid, they were losing minion waves, someone from Na'Vi was always soaking minion wave experience and gold in the side lane, which kind of kept them in a good spot. You can see, I think Vex definitely the player of the game, but Hydro, the unsung hero here, 2-1 and 14. But the damage does tell you everything you need to know. Sakuka versus Vex, with Patras coming in a little bit clutch as well. But Sakuka and Vex, the MVPs of their team this time round. Vex coming in strong in the late game.
Yeah, you can see how close the game was overall, 17 kills to 15. You can see at one point, Entropic did have that gold lead, and I believe that gold lead was just before they overextended in the NAVI jungle down in the bot side of the map, and then they lost that team fight. And then once they lost that team fight, Vex got a few kills, Vex got really, really far ahead from that. And I think that's kind of where I want to see Entropic change when it comes into the second game. I like the rotations, I like how they're playing proactive, I like how they're playing aggressive, but just that vision control for Entropic as well. I want to see them get some more vision control, so when they make these proactive plays, they're not caught off guard, which they did, it did happen a few times this game.
Take a look back at the play of the game, then we'll see which was the most memorable moment from our first game in this series. I don't know which one it'll be. There were lots of memorable moments, but I think this was good. This is Sakutka's triple kill on the Irelia.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it during the game as well, the double route there by Haru as well, and Sakutka just being able to jump around as well on the Irelia. And it shows that, you can still play Irelia. We don't really see her a lot in competitive, if I'm totally honest, and we don't really see too much, but these pocket picks from these players that maybe, people won't know too much about, and this full check team, I'm really excited to get into the second game, if I'm totally honest with you. I really want to get into picks and bans already, but before then, I believe we're going to go to a quick break as well.
We will do. We will. We're going to a quick break. When we're back, we've got another game in this series. We'll see if Entropic can bring it back and take us to 1-1. Oh, we have some tweets, actually. We actually have some tweets. Stuart, you baited me. You baited me, Stuart. Right, Ryu. Blows gaming when Rick's GG is walking into your jungle. Here you go. Have our jungle. That was kind of the case, but I don't blame Blows Gaming. I think Rick's just had a really good handle on the meta. I don't want to see Gragas every game. Hell's already destroyed my Corki with it in his latest video, and all these Gragas picks are keeping me up at night. Yes. I think Gragas jungle, the WREC top laner first pick enjoyer. Yeah, it is Darius, and it was the same in Horizon Cup as well. Darius was such a popular pick because he's has very few bad matchups, and he's always going to be useful at chunking down that front line. So I completely agree with you, Eduardo. Darius is a super strong first pick right now, and has been in Wild Rift competitive as well for a little while. Now I believe, Stu, doing my job for me and putting me off guard. Now I believe we are going to a quick break. When we are back, second game of the series, can we level it out? We'll see you then.
Breathe fire, your eyes so bright, the dark will guide us through the night. Bye, bye, my love, I'll shine for you in the dark. My tribe of stars.
you ready?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Wild Rift European Championship. NAVI honestly struggled their way to a victory there versus Entropic. A lot of analysts, ourselves included, pegged this as a very easy NAVI win this series. But Entropic showed up big, like they really did. This Czech team have been amazing to watch, and I think just let it go at the end there, Stu, and NAVI were able to get back in.
Going into this second game, will he try and pick up the rally again? Does he have any other picks up his sleeve as well? Because I really feel like he was kind of the playmaker for the team, being able to kind of help with all the rotations, with being able to dive in as well. And it's going to be really, really interesting as we get into this second game. But I'm really excited.
I'm super excited to see where we go with the second game, whether Entropic can bounce back. And of course, they do get side selection, I believe, on this game, because they lost that first one, so they could choose that blue side for themselves and secure themselves a. Before we get there, before we get to that point, Hells is standing by with some key points for this game. Let's hear from Hells.
Wow, what a game. And the key point that I want to start off with, even though NAVI won, Entropic's rotations. Such amazing rotations. We saw what they did in the early game. They were able to secure 2 dragons and just constantly roam around and get some amazing kills. And talking about amazing rotations, both supports provided a lot of value to the teams, especially rotation-wise, but also team-fight-wise. Chao coming in with those ultimates. He was struggling a little bit in the early game, but in the late game, providing so much value with those ultimates. Pogo going in with the Thresh as well, with his amazing engage. And we're gonna talk about it. Vex. He was a key point in the beginning, and he's a key point at the end. He didn't get the Lee Sin, but he got the Fiora, who was more of a late game champion, and he proved that he can do just the same thing as Lee Sin can do in the early game as Fiora can do in the late game. So it's going to be interesting to see what both teams are going to be playing around against and how Entropic is going to be rotating around and what they're going to do against Vex. So enough about this. Let's now get back to it, to Excandro and Stuart.
Thanks, Hells. I'm pretty much in accordance with those points. I think Entropic, they played really well. Sekutka, obviously, I think, bit of the star of the show there, but Nedro was impressive. Patros had his moments, and even Haru and Pogo. Haru's influence in that first major team fight around the Rift Herald, I think, sets Sekutka up for success. So really good team, really good team here, Stuart, and I'm excited to see where picks and bans goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as we get into picks and bans for game number 2, I think the main priority that we have to look at is Fiora and also the side selection as well. Will Entropic stay on the red side? Will they go over to the blue side as well? It looks like Entropic is going over to the blue side, so they will have that first pick priority. But now, for Entropic, do you want to ban away the Fiora? Do you not want to play it yourself? Or maybe you want to pick up yourself as first pick? I think that's the main point going into this second picks and ban phase.
Absolutely. The Fiora definitely will be a key point, and you can see how strong she is both in Baron lane and jungle. And I mean, NAVI went for a ridiculously flexible draft on that first rotation, and I feel like maybe boxed themselves in a little too hard in terms of what they picked up, because going for Fiora, Darius, and Camille, even though there is some flexibility in the roles they can go, you know exactly what they're going to do in a game, and therefore you know how to like potentially pick and itemize against them. I think it reveals a little bit too much about your comp, picking up those champions so early, but nonetheless they did pick up the victory. Entropic banning away the Garen. We're going to ban away the Set as well. The Lee Sin gets taken away by Nedra himself. Obviously, look, Vex is Lee Sin. You don't want to give Vex the Lee Sin. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it just shows that they don't want to first pick priority that Lee Sin. And there's a Fiora ban by Na'Vi. Now, Jace is still open. Jace is going to be the one that I think is going to be a bit of a priority. But, you know, Entropic in the first game on red side, they banned away the Set, they banned away the Jace, and they prioritized Varus as well, which they're going to be banning away on the blue side now as well. So what's the first pick? Thinking of the first pick priority here for Entropic, you know, Galio, it could be Jace as well if it doesn't get banned away. Could be even Gragas as well, maybe as a first pick priority. We'll have to wait and find out. Jace is now open, Corki being banned away. So do Entropic want this Jace? Do they want this power pick, or do they have something maybe else up their sleeve?
Well, Thresh is still open. That was really important for them on the previous game. As you mentioned, Jace, even though he got nerfed, a lot of pros still valuing him, and it's going to be the same. I'm still interested as whether this is like habit or whether this, Jace still just is that powerful. That's what's interesting to me. We'll see what we get from NAVI. The Camille gets locked in. They're not too bothered about that Camille nerf whatsoever. Again, looks like it can be flexed across 3 roles with the EIQ playing Camille mid as well. Vex has got Olaf open if he wants it. It's something that we know he's really, really strong on and can default to pretty easily. So let's see where we go. Oh, Jax.
Ooh. It's going to be the Jax. You did say that we don't really see him banned too much, but it's going to be, it looks like we Vex maybe in the jungle with Jax. We don't really see Jax in the Baron lane too much. It did get changed a little bit a few patches ago where his attack speed got nerfed in the early game to kind of stop the kind of early game clear of Jax and helped his health regen, which helped a little bit in the Baron lane. But now look at this. All AD bruisers. We said it at the start of the day, and that's pretty much what both of these teams are going for, all these AD bruisers, but it could be different as well. We see Haru again, maybe potentially picking up the Morgana, and now the Darius going over to Sekuta in the top Baron lane as well. And this draft gets really, really interesting now. There's got quite a bit of flexibility on both sides, and instead of Sekuta picking up Irelia, it could be EIQ's Irelia mid. Now, EIQ did play Irelia mid before in the community tournament, the Purge tournament in January. So this is this is definitely a big possibility. In my opinion, it probably will be Camille top, Jax jungle, Irelia mid. But again, they're going for them triple AD bruisers again that allows them to get that flexibility. But look at Entropic now, banning away the Senna. They know that it could be a possibility again to go for Senna. And last time, Entropic had a really hard time trying to get on Senna in the back line.
Yeah, I think like Camille's good matchup into Darius, right? So that's a pretty good matchup for you if you want to run the Camille into Darius. I don't think you can play Jax in any other role other than jungle, really. You play him in Baron lane, Darius will eat you, and I think in general it's going to be a pretty rough one to play. So I think like that's jungle Jax almost certainly. EIQ probably the Irelia mid into the Jace. It's a pretty solid choice. It's going to be Hydro playing the Orianna. Didn't get banned this time around, so the Orianna and the Ziggs were both available. And it means that we now have a solid AP threat coming out from the bot lane for Navi. Let's see where Entropic round this comp out then.
It's going to be the Gragas. Now, this Entropic lineup is really, really interesting. Could be Gragas support, could be Gragas mid. We'll see what the last pick is, and we'll kind of round out the team off of that as well. But most likely we'll see Jace in the jungle, potentially Darius in the top lane. But honestly, all of these picks can go in multiple roles. We even saw Ryu last week as well. It's Ari mid lane, so it'll be Morgana, Gragas in the Dura lane, and potentially Darius in the top lane with Jace support. That's my prediction anyway.
Jace jungle, Darius top, Ari mid with like Morgana, Gragas bot. Yeah. That seems about right.
Well, and then go ahead, go on.
No, but Nami, we haven't seen much of her this today. Given that Nami, most pros I think would consider her the best enchanter in the game right now, maybe next to Lulu. So, Nami getting locked in. Interesting that we haven't seen as much from her today.
Yeah, Nami's one of them champions that I feel like, because we don't really see the AD carries down in the Dura lane, Nami doesn't really get as much benefit as you would do with an AD carry down the Dura lane. Orianna auto attacks a few times, so Nami's third ability can help with the slows for the Orianna. But interesting enough, Entropic banning out the Senna and the Galio in the second rotation, not banning out the AP champions like they did last time as well. So Hydra pretty much gets Orianna for free. But I'm really interested with this Entropic draft. It's not really a draft that we see too much of, and down in this Dura lane, Morgana, Gragas against Orianna and Nami, a bit of an interesting one. I feel like Morgana definitely does have the pushing power, but they have to sustain with the Nami in the Dura lane for Navi. But going into the second game, we're going to be all eyes on Entropic with them rotations. We're going to be seeing if they'll be able to get that early game lead that they did in the previous game.
I mean, Gragas can do the roaming, can still have those like sort of impacts with the gank. So we will see, Stuart. Will Entropic be able to pick themselves back up and get back into this series versus Navi, or will we have another 2-0 on our hands? That is what we're going to see as we head into game here. Game 2 of this series. Navi looking to match themselves up against WREC in the second round of the upper bracket. If they do win this, WREC looks absolutely clean as you like from start to finish in their game. Navi having a bit more of I'd say much more of a challenge on their hands. Even if Entropic lose here, to be honest with you, Stuart, they're definitely looking like one of the best teams in the loser bracket.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think Entropic have definitely surprised a lot of people, definitely surprised us as well, because we thought, Na'Vi, one of the top teams, we don't really see too much of Entropic. So we're like, okay, Na'Vi is going to be up there as one of the best and they're going to take down Entropic. But I think that's a great thing about open qualifiers and the great thing about this tournament is that teams like Entropic can come from pretty much out of nowhere and just surprise a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I completely agree with you. That's what I like so much about the open qualifier system. It's great to see these kind of plays. Sekutka punishing Fee a little bit there. You can see Yakui trying to find some edge on Patres, which she does. Patres not able to find the charm. And you can already see both rosters going a bit back and forth in this laning phase right now. I would say that Sekutka has had Fee's number in most of these trades in both games, realistically.
Yeah, 100%. Sekutka has definitely been, like I said before the game, definitely one of the shining factors, really. And Fee, we haven't really spoken too much about him, a new Baron laner for Na'Vi. He's been fairly consistent in other tournaments as well. I think he won't hate me for saying this, but he used to be a Soraka one-trick before. In solo queue. I still remember his Soraka one-tricks in solo queue, but now he's going in on Camille.
Oh, they're trying on to Nedro here, but they won't get the flash out of Vex. Vex looking for the stun. They have the support coming up from Pogo, as is Shao. They're going back in. It's a beautiful bubble. It's a double bubble, but they can't quite find the killer to Nedro. The stacks are up. Can they get him down? They do. First blood. And they're going for the second here as it will go straight over to Yakui. Brilliant play from Na'Vi. Great rotation and the impact of Shao.
Again, it's the supports rotating again, and Shao was there with the bubble. As you mentioned, a two-man bubble onto the side of Entropic, and Yaku as well. Orange just dense. That's clean.
Second kill in that mid lane. Completely took Patres off guard, and honestly, it looks like Na'Vi got a wake-up call in that first game.
We're going to see the first replay here, though. You can see the show was here with, you see both the supports just walking along together, but it's the bubble, the two-man bubble, but the stacks were there for Sekutka. He was trying so hard. He wasn't able to get enough healing off as well, as I believe he was ignited. So the healing wasn't too much because of the grievous wounds from Ignite, but again, showing that he is one of the best enchanters, I feel like, in terms of support role. But that mid lane play as well, it just shows that with Ori, you can't use that charm early on, because if you use that charm, if you miss it, and Patres did miss it, Yeku's just going to go in, and he's still going in as well. He just doesn't care.
Tower dive, literally tried to tower dive as Patres maybe looking for the charm. Nice block of the damage there from Yakui, and will buy himself some time. Something that a lot of people know is you can actually stop yourself from moving when you do that. So even if you get charmed, he was not going to walk towards him.
I was about to ask that. I didn't know if that was a bug or something, or if that actually was a thing that, like, so is it when you activate Irelia's second ability, and if you get charmed, you still stay in the same place, I guess?
I'm pretty certain. I need to check the interaction more frequently, but I'm pretty certain that's a thing. If not, maybe he was literally like a modicum out of range. But I'd love to actually, if you know the answer to that, tweet, because I'm not entirely certain. I'm just going off what I literally saw on screen. But it looked pretty fancy nonetheless.
Yeah, it was. I'm not too sure if the charm landed. I can't actually remember now if we saw the little charm landed. But yeah, very interesting interaction if that is the case. But you can see this already. Yakui going into the Dura lane. You can see Fee as well up in the top lane. And you can see you see this quite a lot. You see the duo laners for both teams.
Cannot be interrupted. So whilst you're charging, Defiant Dance cannot be interrupted.
Oh.
Okay,
well, I learned something new today.
Exactly. I've learned something that has been confirmed on broadcast. Something new has been learned.
You learn something new every day, Excoundrel, and Shao again on this Nami.
Yeah, trying to go on to Sekuka. Sekuka's trying to buy up stacks. You can see Fee. Fee was so reluctant to go for the final kill there. Almost gave a kill back over to Sekuka. And Shao almost paid the iron price.
Yeah, Shao again with these roams, a great bubble into the top side. And Yakui, he's going in again. He doesn't care.
Flashes in, the double stun here as well. Haru goes down. Now Pogo able to get away. And honestly, that is a 3-0 Irelia. Yakui's mid lane Irelia is coming to fruition. The first tower of the game goes down. And what a different story this time round. 5,000 gold for Na'Vi by 5 minutes.
This is the Na'Vi that we was expecting coming into this series. And as you said, 5,000 goal lead already, coming in at 5 minutes into the game. And it's honestly the rotations from Shao that are really doing a really bringing a shining light to Na'Vi. They're able to, he's able to land the bubbles on multiple members on the side of Entropic. And Entropic are the ones that are falling behind now. Normally you saw in the previous game, Entropic were the ones with the rotations. At this time, Na'Vi, maybe it's a bit of pressure in the first game. Normally first game in a tournament, you feel a little bit of pressure. But now I feel like they're a lot more comfortable now. They got the first tower of the game as well, up in the Baron lane. And yeah, you can see EIQ now. He's just feeling it. Look at him, the dodge on the charm as well. This man is so hard to stop when he's on form.
Yeah, and I've got to give credit to Vex and Shao. Both of them have been involved in 100% the same kills as EIQ as well. They've both been there to help set up this Irelia, especially on that mid lane little fight where Haru went down. Vex was the setup. He's actually getting a bit further ahead in that jungle. You can see Entropic not feeling as comfortable this game. First tower already gone, second tower almost drops here as we are working towards a 4-man tower dive being on the cards as Vex Joe goes in, looks for the fight, does get the kill, and that should be the second tower of the game.
Yep, second tower of the game going over to Na'Vi. You can see Fish just chilling in the top lane as well. He doesn't really, he's like, yeah, you guys could do that. That's all fine. I'm just going to carry on split pushing in the Baron lane. I'll be completely fine. But yeah, Na'Vi this game, much better early game than the previous one. And yeah, Huey again.
Yeah, Huey again. Oh, does go to a try to go 1v3. You're not quite that strong yet. And that'll be a nice shutdown going in. Well, actually not a nice shutdown. It went to Pogo. That's literally probably the least favorable member to have the shutdown go towards.
Yeah, unfortunately, the shutdown did go over to Pogo, but a little bit of an overstep for EIQ. I think he was a little bit overconfident there, trying, like you said, with a 1v3 situation. Unfortunately, it does fall down in the end, but yeah, I think even with that death as well, Na'Vi, look at the gold lead already. Crazy amount of gold lead in this early game, and they already took the Herald. They took 2 towers. They took they lost the first dragon though to Entropic. So Entropic again focusing more on the dragons and focusing more on trying to scale into the late game. I mean, you look at both team comps in terms of the late game. You have Orianna, you have Jax and Irelia on the side of Na'Vi. But so I feel like even if Entropic does take the dragons, Na'Vi have a better late game going into this as well. So now they have the early leads. They just need to kind of make sure they don't overextend and they don't make any misplays.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw at the Horizon Cup what the Jax jungle meta could do as the game progressed. Just become a side lane menace who takes towers in a matter of seconds, and that's still on the cards here for Na'Vi. A lot of gold going the way of him, and Haru almost dying to the shockwave of Hydro, who been a little quiet this game, but has got 1 kill to his name as Sakuka goes down. Vex picks up the kill. Baiting a couple people in around this mid lane tower. You can see the rest of Entropic still rotating well, but this time it's all defensive rotations here, Stuart.
Yeah, exactly. It's all defensive rotations. They're trying to defend this mid lane tower, which they do in the end, but with the dragon and with the Rift Herald spawning, you can see the Na'Vi are 1 step ahead already. Entropic are just backing away. They don't want anything to do with these dragons. I think they realize how far behind they are at the moment, and when you're this far behind, I really feel like you can't even contest these objectives. And when that happens this early in the game, you really feel like that you're kind of backs against the wall already, even this early on in the game.
Absolutely. And I think right now you're looking at a gold lead that's extended out to around 6,000. They have actually kept a lid on it a little bit here, Entropic. It was 5,000 at 5 minutes. It's only about 6,000 now. So it's not a bad thing, even though they've lost 2 towers. They are keeping things relatively healthy. You see the flash comes in from Pogo, looking for the attack, but can't quite find it. However, might have netted them enough to go for the Rift. But I say that, here comes the engage, the wave over the entire Entropic team. Oh, it's a triple kill. It was like shooting fish in a barrel for Hydro. And that is another big win for Na'Vi. Huge slaughter of a team fight right now.
Absolutely disgusting. You mentioned it, the Nami wave across all the members, the shock wave as well, and even Yakui's ultimate as well, being able to dive onto the backline. You can see Patras is all by himself as Ari, and they're like, okay, this is our time to go in. Look at that Nami wave. Yakui jumping in as well, and Fisha's like, yeah, Ari, you're just going to stay with me the whole time. So Entropic not really on the same page this team fight, and Patras on this, Ari was just a little bit away from the rest of his team, and that's where Na'Vi can punish. And honestly, you give Na'Vi that opportunity where they can go in and they can engage, and as you can see, they're just going to take it and they are just going to wipe you off the face of the map. And now over a 10,000 goal lead, 12 kills to 1 as well. Entropic have a mountain to climb to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's a huge gold lead now in favor of Na'Vi, and honestly, that was just Entropic setting up a really aggressive position on the Rift Herald when they really didn't have the means to fight on their terms. Like, even if they did want to fight on their terms, what is their game plan with this comp? Like, for me, the game plan kind of feels like let this sort of melee trio walk on top of my Darius and Morgana and hope for the best. That definitely feels like the play here for Entropic, but just didn't work out because they're a little bit too far behind right now.
Yeah, I think it's more to, you know, you've got the double mages, you've got the Ahri and the Morgana for the, you know, for the wave clear and everything as well. I think that's what a lot of teams really prioritize with these AP mages down the dual lane, is to do with all the wave clears, getting that mid lane priority and everything as well. But unfortunately, they're just clearing waves in their base at the moment. There's not really, they can't really get out of their own jungle right now.
But they're just like, what I'm kind of trying to work out is, like, if you were trying to win a team fight as Entropic, like, how would you attempt to win it? Is it like a pick with Ahri to start things off, or are you literally just hoping that Fee, Vex, and Yekui would stand on top of your Morgana ultimate, and then Darius gets some dunks?
Yeah, it is a little bit. It does seem to be a little bit all over the place. And there's Pogo actually going in. I don't think you can 1v1 an army. I'll be totally honest with you, but we love to see a support battle.
Yeah, I mean, he had his ult, so I was thinking maybe he could go for like an ult pick, and then. But then that's like, what would you even turn it into at this point as Entropic? Yeah. Maybe a mid lane tower if you're lucky, but Orianna's already there to clear the wave. So
yeah, they're trying to push out this mid lane wave. They're trying to get a little bit of control over their jungle. You can see at the moment they only have one ward at their blue buff, and that's about it really at the moment. And Navi have just complete control over the jungle. You can see they're grouping up as 5 members now, and if they catch out a member of Entropic, Haru. Oh, I was really scared there for a second. I thought that Haru was going to face check, but in the end, I feel like maybe he had his spidey sense tingling there.
Yeah, his spidey senses were tingling. You can see no one's going to face check Vex right now, but they will get the blue buff before this next dragon spawns. 1 dragon apiece between Navi and Entropic, and it looks like the fight is going on. That'll be bot lane tower that's being prioritized. I wonder if Navi can look for the fight here. You can see that Fee and Yekui are there. Yekii's building up a few stacks before this fight starts. Oh my god, Vex, how much damage do you do? What on earth did I just watch?
That's a Jax that didn't even have his passive fully stacked or anything, just auto-attacking. I'm pretty sure he didn't use any abilities or anything. He was just standing there auto-attacking.
Is that legal? Is what I just watched legal?
You can see...
It's not even late game Jax. That's just Jax.
Exactly. I think that's just Jax in a nutshell. Is like he could just like jump on and just keep auto-attacking you with his... I don't even remember what is his weapon again. It's like a cane, is it?
No, it's a lamppost. It's a lamppost.
He's just hitting with his lamppost. He doesn't care. He's like just chilling there, hitting with the lamppost. He can come straight as well.
Had a real weapon.
That was a good one.
Actually, with this skin, it's like a spade.
Yeah, it's like a shovel.
It's like a shovel spade thing. That is that was literally just Blade of the Ruined King Triforce Jax as well.
That's absolutely disgusting.
My only explanation for that damage is that he stacked his 3rd hit of his ultimate passive and then used his 2nd ability. That's the only explanation. But they just get Baron for free. There's the wave looking for the engage here. They knock the Edge of Night off the Nedros. They flash forward past the charm, looking for the engage. Black Shield won't save the day here versus Fee. Vex is maybe looking for the stun. It's a 4-man stun, and it sets up the rest of the team fight here for Navi. Yekui jumps in. Yekui slaughters the back line as Nedros forced to flush away. Yekui's healing up here, should be able to get out through this tower, but that was a disgusting team fight again from Navi.
Yeah, the counter strike from Vex being able to flash in and land a 4-man stun, as you said, 3-man stun, as you said, and this could honestly be the game scoundrel. Baron minions, it's Nedro versus the world, and we'll have to see if he can defend, but I don't think there's a lot that he can really do here.
No, they're going to take him down easily. It will be the kill over for Shao, and that will be Navi. Super clean, incredibly dominant second game, and we needed to see that from them because we were raising questions in the first game. Entropic just not able to face up to Navi, who are firing on all cylinders this time round, Stu.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the Navi that we know and love. This is a Navi that we were expecting coming into this tournament. The first game was a little bit shaky. Like I said, it might have been like tournament nerves or something like that. But the second game, the rotations from Shao in the end as well, the domination from Navi and Yekui. You know, Hells was talking about at the start of the day with the pocket picks for Yekui. We've seen him play Irelia as well, and in this game as well, he was absolutely popping off on Irelia.
Absolutely. You've got to give credit to Vex, though. He started this off well. Shao with the double bubble where it counted. And then Vex with the rest of the team able to get off to a great start. First blood for him. I think Vex, for me, this game was the guy that drove most of that aggression from Na'Vi. Fee, Xiao, by the way, he's a bubble machine. Like Xiao on the hitting these bubbles left, right, and center is fantastic. Fee, I wouldn't say Fee had the best games of his life, but he did what was needed of him and managed to keep wraps on Sikutka top side. Another great stun from Vex to set up a brilliant performance from the EIQ on this Aurelia. And to be honest with you, Stu, it was domination from start to finish from Na'Vi.
Yeah, I think from pretty much the start of the game, there was kind of really no way that Entropic were really going to win it, to be fair. It was just like a clean game overall, just goal lead after goal lead after goal lead. And as you said, you know, Shower with these bubbles, just like a magnet in the edge. You can see this team fight as well, the waves as well, your QE jumping in on the back line. And it just felt like Entropic was not on the same page this game. They were on the same page in the first game. They were there with the rotations, but this game, they kind of fell a little bit flat. I don't know if the first game was kind of a big hit to them because maybe they thought like they would have had the advantage, but you can see this was the last team fight here as well. Fee jumping in, just being able to zone away the Morgana, only being able to hit one, and then Vex as well. Boom, flash counter strike, 3-man counter strike. Yakui as well with the stun as well, diving in onto the back line, getting multiple resets as well with the Irelia passive, and that was the nail on the coffin in the end, and that was it going into it. And then we have a look at the stats here as well. Look at them stat 6-0-7. Oh, okay, hopefully we'll get back to them in a second. But yeah, Jack 6-0-7 in the end. Fee as well, you know, you mentioned Fee a little bit. I feel like in this series overall, he wasn't really a shining light, but he was kind of
consistent
rock. Yeah, he was a kind of the rock of the team, and he was being consistent throughout the whole of the series.
Yeah, it was a consistent play from Fee here. Vex 6-0-7 on the Jax, 6-1-6 for Yakui on his Aurelia. A lot of damage from the Aurelia, but Jax also pumping up the damage here for Vex, 10,000 in his back pocket. Hydro, a little bit of an unsung hero here, was doing insane work in some of these team fights, but you can just see by the numbers this game, it was not a not a long game. It was a very quick affair here for Na'Vi. They swept Entropic aside relatively easily. To be honest, Stu, from the get-go, you can see the gold graph tells the story.
Yeah, exactly. From the first few minutes, you know, Na'Vi had the advantage right from the start, and you can tell by the score lead as well. 18 kills to 1 is it's a big difference between the first game and the second game. But you know, as we've seen, you know, this is the Na'Vi that we were expecting coming into this tournament, and now going into the second rounds of the upper bracket, we get to see Na'Vi versus WREC, and you can see here some of the tweets as well.
Yeah, Doom's one of the coaches for WREC. Some rotations and macro to work on, but Entropic team really could be EU's dark horse. Okay, it's gone. Imagine this kid from Entropic almost beating Na'Vi in his new team whilst looking Omega sussy at the same time. Patras, my boy, keep on improving, keep on grinding. Honestly, this team was very impressive in the first game for sure. Second game, you know, end of the day, it is what it is. But you know, like they were really, really impressive. I want to give massive credit to Entropic. That first game had a lot of people surprised. A lot of commenters you can see online, very, very impressed with the way that they approached their first game and nearly won.
I totally agree with you. I think going into the loser bracket as well, I think Entropic is definitely a team we have to keep our eyes on. They're going to loser bracket against Blow Gaming as well. But yeah, Excoundrel, we have an interview.
We do. We've got an interview. Hells is going to be interviewing someone from the winning team. So Hells, take it away.
All right, we got Xiao for the interview, and congrats, man. What an amazing performance coming through in the first game up against Entropic. And I want to ask you first, did you expect Entropic to show that amazing performance in the first game?
This game, we didn't know what to expect of them. But yeah, we kind of played really bad first game. They also played pretty decent. So, I mean, it was not expected at all.
Yeah, and to add to that, obviously you played much better in the second game, and like everything was on point and you dominated the game. And what changed compared to the first game? Because you said you weren't prepared. Did that whole mindset just completely change in the second game?
So, like, our roster has a pretty bad, we're usually a really bad first game and we didn't have a warm-up. So, I think it's mainly like that. Like, we had to kind of warm up first game. And then second game, it was kind of, we were warm.
Yeah, warming up in the first game. And that's something that you cannot do in your next series, which is up against WREC. And that's where the next question is going to be about. How are you feeling about that matchup? Because both of you are known to be, you know, among the best teams of Europe. How do you feel matching up against WREC as your next match?
I think it will be a pretty good series. Like, I feel pretty confident. Like, so far we have been decent against them, and I think it will be a 2-1.
Ooh, yeah, that's great to hear. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for the interview, Xiao, and great performance. Looking forward to seeing you play again. And yeah, we're going to be shooting it back to the casters.
Thank you, thank you.
I appreciate the bird input as well. It's always good to hear. Always good to hear some background bird noises, and obviously just as enthused about Xiao's performance there, as well as Navi too. So honestly, really good series from Navi overall. Let's take a look at the play of the game here, then, Stuart. I'm wondering which one. I think the big Irelia play is probably going to be the one.
Yeah, I think the one with the Nami wave and everything as well. We get to see it was the last team fight as well. Ooh. I thought it'd been the one before this, but it is the last team fight as well. But yeah, Fee just showing that, you know, he was very consistent zoning out the members of Morgana. But this flash counter-strike as well, just Vex set up his whole team here and set up EIQ to just dive in onto the back line. And it was absolutely beautiful play of the game there by Vex especially. And yep, that pretty much, you know, does it for Na'Vi. And as Xiao mentioned, you know, they're going to be playing against REC. They think that Na'Vi are going to win it 2-1. We'll have to wait and find out.
Oh, Hells apparently is coming back to join us. How does everyone in esports have a bird, Hells? Like, you've got a bird, Xiao's got a bird, Joey's got a bird, Keys has got a bird, no, Joey's got a bird, Keys has got a bird. Everyone's got a bird, Hells. Like, is it just a secret to being good at Wild Rift?
Well, it seems like every bird worked except for Keys' bird, as he didn't make it to the players.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm sorry. His bird is just in the early. He has a late game bird, all right? There's 2 more qualifiers, and then his bird is going to be scaling up into the late game, and he's going to make it. You know, birds, they make the difference.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm never going to recover from that. Okay, let's take a look at the MVP from that series. Oh, why do you have to do him dirty like that on broadcast, man? Like, oh no. Okay, let's take a look. MVP. It was Vex. It was Vex. Of course, it was Vex.
Yeah, Vex in the first game on the Fiora, and coming into this second game as well with the Jax in the end as well. Yeah, the first game, Fiora, the repose on the Fiora in the end, and kind of the difference really in the first game. In the second game, he was kind of farming away with Jax, but that's pretty much all you need to do with Jax. And then you can see in the late game as well, the flash counter strike, the stun, which pretty much set up his whole team as well. And overall, just proving that Vex is definitely one of the best junglers in this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. I think he absolutely proved his worth, proved his place on my tier list as the absolute top of the jungles in WREC. But he's a great player, as is Na'Vi in general. Good team. And I think that matchup versus REC is going to be a fantastic game as well. But of course, that brings us to the close of our first day of this weekend here at the WREC. But we have more games coming your way. Let's take a look at the matchups that we've got. Wait, it's bracket first. Of course, it's bracket first. Let's take a look at the bracket. You can see REC will go up against Navi, Game Lord versus Queso, and Zero Zone going up against Viv. But we have 2 more matches here in the upper bracket to bring you, which will be coming tomorrow here, Stu.
Yeah, Formulation against Sabu Gaming, Control against Team Dark. 2 really close matchups. So you can see in the lower bracket as well. Blows Gaming against Entropy. You know, all these matches in the lower bracket are so close, and it's really hard to predict as well, especially because all of them were 2-0'd in the first round. But I feel like Entropic is definitely the strongest in this bottom side of the bracket.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think Entropic looks super good. But of course, tomorrow, Hells, we have some upper bracket games to bring you to. I know you're really looking forward to that Control Team Dark matchup too.
Yeah, you guys rooted for Team Dark. I'm going for Control because I've got some really good friends over there, and I genuinely believe in that team. Tomorrow's games are going to be absolutely amazing, Xgander.
Oh, I'm super looking forward to it. Of course, you guys will be there. You'll be guiding the audience all the way through those games. It's been really fantastic. What was your favorite moment from today, Stu?
For me, honestly, it's a surprise of Entropic. I have to bring that out there. You know, Entropic really coming out in the first game. And I think it's definitely one that everyone has to keep their eyes on going through the loser bracket as well.
Yeah, and I think Entropic definitely showed up. But of course, the expected winners made their way through today. Now, it's been a fantastic day of esports here at the Wild Rift European Championship. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've absolutely loved casting with these two beautiful gentlemen, Stuart and Hells. I've been a scoundrel, but for the time being, we will see you tomorrow.